everybody, welcome back to Mitten State Firearms. I'm Matt. This is your favorite gun channel on YouTube, and today we got a hot topic for you. What we're going to be talking about today is home defense weapons, how to choose them, and the pros and cons of the different platforms that are popular in today's world. So there's a lot of different things we need to think about when we're choosing a home defense weapon. There's not an end-all be-all answer to that question, but there are a lot of things that you can consider. And a lot of the things that you need to consider actually don't even involve your firearm, but more about the type of ammunition that you choose and a couple other factors. What those factors are when you're choosing a home defense weapon, what you have to think about is the type of area that you live in. Do you live in the city or do you live out in the country? The layout of your home, where your children and other people in the home sleep and stay, and what type of firearm you're comfortable with and that you're going to train with, and what's going to be suitable for you. Like I said, there's no end-all be-all, one size fits all home defense weapon, but I'm going to give you the three most popular platforms that people choose from today and why I think they're good and why I think that they have some downfalls. So the three topics that I'm going to be talking about, or the three firearm platforms that I'm going to be talking about today, are a handgun, an AR platform, which the one I have here today to show is an AR pistol with a 10.5-inch barrel, so a pretty compact setup, and then a 12-gauge pump shotgun. So first of all, I'm going to talk about the handgun. What we have here is a Glock 17, early Gen 5 Glock 17. And this is a full-size 9mm handgun, and I think this is one of your better choices for a home defense handgun. Not this specific model, but a full-size handgun. And the reason for that is it's large, easy to get your hands on, but more importantly, it has a large ammunition capacity in the magazine. Like I said, full size, so that's a 17+1. So if you have one in the chamber, which you always should, whether you're carrying or you have a home defense weapon, I think you need to have one in the chamber, because in a time of high stress, your adrenaline's going to kick up and you're not going to remember to rack around in there, and you're going to end up pulling the trigger and all you're going to hear is a click, and then that's probably going to end pretty bad for you. So 18 rounds overall in this specific platform. That's a pretty generalized number all the way across a lot of the full-size guns. You can buy extended magazines for them. You can buy magazine extensions for them, and you can have more rounds. But 17+1 is a pretty good number of rounds of ammo to have. But make sure, even more importantly, you choose a good defense ammo. You're not going to want to load your home defense gun with full metal jacket rounds, which what that means is full metal jacket is just a jacketed piece of lead. So all it is for punch and paper. Those are for training purposes. All you're going to do is make holes. Is that going to stop the threat? More than likely, yeah, but it's not going to be that effective at it. What you want is a hollow point, maybe even something with a ballistic tip, something that's going to open up good, not over penetrate, and really do a lot of damage to a soft target, and not anything really beyond that. So if you go with a hollow point, they will open up, they expand, causing the penetration to slow down drastically as it passes through a soft target. And you don't have to worry so much about a hollow point passing on through a person or through a wall into a room that you don't mean to. One of the major firearm safety rules is always know your target and what's beyond it. And that's the most important part of your home defense plan, is making sure that you're never going to put rounds through a person or towards another member of your family. Definitely don't want to put them towards your kids or anybody else in the household. And you really want to make sure that you're choosing an ammo that's not going to pass through your walls, end up in a neighbor's house. And that's where the type of city or area that you live in is important, because your options are going to be a little bit different depending on where you live and what's going to be most effective for you in that area. So some of the pros of the handgun are they're smaller. They're easier to conceal in your bedroom or wherever you choose to conceal them in your home. You can put them in a little safe. You can have them in a drawer in a nightstand if you don't have little ones running around. And it's there. Like I said, you got a large magazine capacity. And whenever you hear bump in the night, you can reach in the drawer, grab that firearm out, have 18 rounds in this specific setup, and you can move around about your house pretty easily without having to worry about lugging a large object around. You can keep it close to your body at low ready, you can have it up at high ready, and you can move throughout your house effectively and eventually stop the threat, and not worry about it. Like I said, one of the only problems is you have to be more accurate with a handgun. A lot of people just buy a self-defense or a home defense gun. They don't really train with it. They just feel safer having it in a drawer. But this, out of this platform, is the one that you have to train with the most to be accurate with it. And if you do not do that, then chances of you missing the assailant in your home and having them overtake you are much higher than with any of the other platforms. So that's pretty much the only downfall with that. And then if you choose the right kind of ammunition, you don't have to worry about over penetration or anything like that. Yeah, you might get a little bit, but it can be drastically slowed by choosing the right type of ammunition. And that's going to be the same all the way across the board throughout all of these platforms. So that's something we're going to discuss a little bit further. But a handgun, good to go. Train with it. Always, no matter what you're doing with guns, always make sure you train with them. Pick the right kind of ammunition, do your research, or message us and we'll tell you what we think is the best kind, and I'll send you the right direction. Next up is going to be an AR-15. This gun is also clear. Nothing in the mag well, nothing in the chamber. This is a build. I did this, I call it my COVID build. I did this build during COVID, so what was supposed to be kind of budget-ish ended up not being that at all because parts were almost impossible to get. But it turned out great. It shoots great. It's accurate. I love it. Does what I need to do. If I was going to use an AR-15 platform of mine as a home defense gun, it would be this one. It's very compact. You have a 10.5-inch barrel, and if you, even with the brace fully extended out, you have still a very compact platform. The biggest plus I think about this platform is that the magazine capacity. Your standard magazine's 30 rounds. You can get 10 rounds, 5 rounds. You can buy 20 round magazines, you buy 50 round drums, 100 round drums. But what I will tell you is the higher the capacity of the magazine, the less reliable it's going to be. The springs in the magazine are not reliable in a 50 round drum. 100 round drum might be cool to take to the range, show off to your buddies, but it's not a very practical self-defense or home defense tool. Just so you know, your 30 round magazines with the technology that we have these days are your best bet if you're looking for a high capacity, and stick with the good ones. You want to stick with Magpul, Lancer. Those are my top 2 recommendations. There are a lot of other good ones out there, but those are my top 2. But a lot of the people who argue about the AR platform being a bad home defense gun is because they say it is too long. Hard to do close quarters, ECQC stuff, and I disagree with that for a couple reasons. One, you can build a small compact one like this, or you can buy it off the shelf. AR pistols are pretty popular nowadays, and if this was an AR-15 rifle and you were going to shoulder it, but it's not, it's a brace, but for video purposes, I'm going to shoulder it like it's a rifle. I wouldn't do this in the range. But even if you hold this gun correctly and you have it out here, this is as long as you are. So even if I extend my arm fully, it's going to go past the length of this gun. And let me show you why that's important. Because if you use a pistol at a high ready position and you go all the way out with your gun, you're already past what the AR-15 platform would be, unless you have an actual AR-15 rifle, which your standard size is a 16-inch barrel, which extends that whole platform out quite a few inches compared to the one I just showed you. So the plus side is that one right there is compact. You can have a large magazine capacity to defend yourself, but the 2 downfalls are, one, shooting a rifle round inside your house is probably going to be the worst option out of all of these, unless you live in the most rural of areas, you have a whole bunch of land, you don't have any neighbors, you don't have any other buildings, because you're shooting a projectile out that's going to come out anywhere from, you're looking at 2,800 to 3,300 feet, depending on what kind of projectile you use, and also depending on what kind of projectile you use. Once it passes through a person, it's going to make a really small hole, and it's moving so fast. It's going to pass through, it's going to go through a few walls, and if you got neighbors, it's going to end up in your neighbor's house, your neighbor's car, and you're responsible for that. You're responsible for any damage that might happen to them, and forbid that injury comes from a round going past where it was supposed to. So keep that in mind when you're looking at home defense guns. A rifle round, yeah, powerful, a lot of capacity, but maybe too powerful for a home defense situation. That's my personal opinion. I would never really use an AR-15 setting. I live in the city, so I have to worry about my neighbors. Definitely make sure that you have a home defense plan set up, because you don't want to be shooting towards other people's rooms in the house. Make sure everybody knows if something happens. Your best bet is to all get in the same room, lock the door, call the police, be a good witness, and be ready to defend that room. Don't go out actively searching. Remember, it's home defense, not home offense. So keep that in mind. It could save you a lot of trouble if the time comes. Third, which is probably the most popular choice for home defense, is a 12 gauge shotgun. This one's a pump, empty. And this is a tactical shotgun. A plus side of this is it's pretty cheap, but it runs great. It shoots anything I've ran through it. It's never failed once. I've let it get dirty and still ran it. But the biggest thing to remember when you're shooting a shotgun is the different variety of shells that you can use. You can use birdshot and have a bunch of tiny little pellets. You can use buckshot and have 6 or 8 like 380 size holes you can put in a person. You can use slug and shoot a 1 inch solid or 1 ounce solid piece of lead and put a huge hole in something, but then you really have to worry about over penetration, going through walls, potentially injuring somebody you're not trying to, or destroying something that you don't mean to. So with the home defense options for shells, some of them put discs in there followed by BBs, which are a great option. But even a number 8 birdshot, which is like the cheapest stuff that you can go out on the shelf and find, the most plentiful, that's going to shoot a bunch of tiny little BBs out. And this specific gun, I can put 3 in the tube and 1 in the chamber, so I have 4 rounds. If I shoot somebody with size 8 shot 4 times, first time it's going to poke a bunch of little holes, the second time it's going to fray those holes, the third time it's going to make it a little bitter, and by the 4th time you could probably throw a football through them. So that's definitely a great option. And if you're shooting a shell like that, you don't really have to worry about over penetration. It's going to stop in walls, it's going to stop in drywall, it's going to stop in your insulation. So that's why I personally think a shotgun is your best option, especially a tactical setup like this. I personally would prefer a semi-automatic, and that is because in times of high stress, sometimes if you don't practice, you will lose your memory. That's why it's so important to train, so you just get that muscle memory down and really train your brain in a high stress situation how to react. So if you get a tactical one like this one here, you can mount a flashlight, you can mount a bipod, you can mount anything on here. We have another Picatinny rail on top. You can mount an optic on there, red dot, scope, whatever you want to do. Like I said, and then we also have a breech plug. So you can take this, you can bust doors down with it, and or even if you run out of ammo, you can use that to fight with, and that's a pretty deadly tool there too. So that being said, everything has its pros and cons. If I had to rate a home defense gun in a city situation, I would go shotgun number 1, handgun number 2, AR-15 number 3. And if I was in a rural situation, I would probably go AR-15 number 1, shotgun number 2, handgun number 3. You can put all kinds of crazy rounds in your shotgun if you live out in the country. You can do it in the city too, but you can start off with a slug, finish it off with another home defense round, and then put a bunch of buckshot, double-aught buckshot after that. So those are some things to consider when you're looking for your home defense gun. Those are your 3 most popular platforms. I really hope that you learned something, really hope that got your mind turning about making a home defense plan for your personal home, getting out and training with your home defense gun, becoming efficient with it, and definitely looking into a home defense gun if you don't already have one. If you're looking for recommendations, get a hold of us. If you're looking for training that you can do to become more effective for a home defense situation, get a hold of us. And thanks for watching tonight. We really appreciate your support. Like, share, and subscribe. Tag your friends in the videos. Follow us on Facebook at Minton State Firearms and Training. Follow us on Instagram at Minton State Firearms. Check us out on the YouTube channel at Minton State Firearms. And keep in touch, because at 1,000 subscribers, we're going to do a big giveaway. You're not going to want to miss that. So tag your friends. They're going to want to be part of it too. Like I said, I appreciate your support. Hope you guys learned some great information tonight, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.